from each school to come on inside with us.
I'm down.
All right, Capital, one.
I'm down for Capital. Capital?
I'm Capital.
I'm down for Capital.
You have Santa Fe High, sorry.
I'm Capital.
Capital. NMSA. Santa Fe High.
You have Santa Fe High.
NMSA.
Hey, I already got it for Capital.
Oh, I know.
What other schools are out there? Hey, two people on this, raise your hand.
Oh shit, accident.
I'm not worried. Hey, don't freak out. Anna, come back!
Why don't you
Are you the mom? Thank you. Oh, what? They got me on camera.
You guys no smoking. Keep it peaceful. If you tag this building, go help me.
In other words, make a good impression on yourself, on your community, and your schools, on your peers.
Police each other. If you see somebody misbehaving, tell them.
Put him in check. Let's go. Where's Ethan? All right. The half of the kids, let's follow Ethan. Right now,
They're all coming in.
Do the best you can, guys.
hold up. Only the people we pick and us three are going to everybody else is trying to pick. Where you guys going?
Anna! You better take the real shit.
Gonna go in there. Okay. Here for Renewable. Go in there and reach home.
What's the plan?
Is Esha here? Is Esha here?
All the chairs.
Oh, so this is a setup. Not sure where the press conference organizer is, Esha. She should be around somewhere. But we can have folks fill this room. We can have folks up there if we need more space. And either wait for Esha or find her and bring her out.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to go find her, we'll wait here.
Well, it's a big
block the
building.
doors, guys.
I suggest going back out, and I could look for her.
Should we just
I
give
don't
her a
know.
call real quick? I have her number. Yeah, just give her a call real quick.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Ask her where she's at.
Going over there?
So what's going on is students are speaking at Renewable Energy Day. So we're getting prepared for the press conference, meeting the press conference organizer. Students from representatives from different schools are going to speak. And the way that this connects with the park protests is that students have a lot of passions for different issues, renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and other issues, social justice. And those passions that students have are not being taught as much as they should in the schools because of the focus on testing. And so students are making the connection between what they really want to learn about, which includes renewable energy, and the fact that they can't focus on that because Things are a little scattered today. It is freezing cold. The press conference has started inside, so I'm gonna go inside for a minute. Partly because I'm freezing cold.
Goes backwards when you're generating electricity. So this bill that I'm carrying is very important because it cuts down on the amount of money that your parents would have to pay to put solar panels on their house. We have an incredible solar energy economic boom going on in New Mexico. We have almost 2,000 jobs that are dedicated just for solar energy, for putting panels on people's houses and other forms of heat from solar. We have increased 83% in the last couple of years, those number of jobs. We have almost 5,000 households with solar panels on their roof. And one of the things about putting solar panels is that then you can use other forms of electricity that you might feel bad about. So instead of a swamp cooler, which uses a lot of water, you can put solar panels up and have electric AC that uses much less water. So you're saving water and you're saving electricity. So we have about 80 companies all over this state. And these are good paying jobs. These are jobs that you guys would do when you get older. So I'm really proud that we have such a good renewable energy community. I'm really proud that you students really voice
Going to go back outside, check in on the protest. Excuse me.
Everybody listen up. Why are you guys walking away? This area is for us. Our protesters. We are trying to change the education system to, you know, accommodate, we want to fit everybody's needs. You know, you like to paint, let's give you a paintbrush. There shouldn't be a test.
There should be no test.
People are going into the Senate to hear about the memorial.
Okay. Oh no.
A lot of people going into the Senate. I'm going to go back to the Renewable Energy Conference. It is freezing cold. My hands are about to fall off. So I'm not sure who that just was, the woman who spoke to the group and invited them into the Senate. Might have been a Senate staffer. But there is a Senate. I'm actually going to go back to the Renewable Energy press conference.
And they may be young, but they really know their stuff. And they are up next, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Santa Fe's very own Global Warming Express.
Thank you so much. All right. We're going to let them get set up for a moment here. Come on out, kiddos. We're going to move the podium back. Okay. How do you want to do this, Jeannie? Okay. All right. Global Warming Express.
Those are really cool elementary kids, Global Warming Express. I'm going to see what's going on in the Senate gallery. So we've been told that there's a debate right now about Common Core and testing that Senator Morales has started.
So the system itself is set up so that it really does some harm to academic progress for that student.
So, Mr. President and Senator, you know, I've heard for a long time that when somebody fails a test, then their life is over. But I don't think that's true. I've been around a lot of people, and I've done better on tests and worse on tests, and you know, like the president, I probably don't want y'all to see my grades. But I don't think that it's life-shattering. I think it can be helpful, in fact, if you don't pass a test, because then you at least know where you stand in life, and so you know what to do to move forward. One of the other questions that I know comes up, Mr. President, is teachers' evaluation. Teachers are being graded on this. And can you tell me, Mr. President, Senator, how much of this PARCC test is reflected in the teachers' evaluation?
Mr. President and Senator, you know, with the PARCC is actually taking place, I think there's confusion there as well. Because I think that utilizing last year's test scores, which is a completely different assessment, is also being utilized, but up to 50% of the teacher's evaluation will come off of assessment. So there is big implications that are there. You know, there's a movement as far as students opting out and parental rights, if they should do this or not. Mr. President and Senator, I think that those things should not affect the educator. And at the same time is that there's basically some fear tactics that are put out there that even tell the students that if you opt out of a test, then you're basically going to be the reason that a teacher gets fired or a principal gets transferred, and that's absolutely just not true.
So, Mr. President, again, as I was studying this, so ultimately, teachers' evaluations, there may be a significant portion, but certainly not this year. I think this year the most that it can affect any teacher is 11%, which leaves 89% of the teacher's evaluation somewhere else, observation or the other parts of this evaluation process. So while ultimately we're going to get there over a course of some years. I believe it's been 4 years before this is fully in effect, Mr. President. And so with that time, certainly the teachers, the students, the system itself can try to figure out how all of this is working. And Mr. President, I think what I'm getting at here is there is real concern out there. There's concern by the parents, there's concern by the teachers, there's concern by the administrators. There's concern all over the place, and I get that. But I think the real issue here isn't that the testing or the system is bad. I think that we've simply not done a very good job of trying to reinforce where we're going with this. And I certainly was one of those that had serious problems, Mr. President. But now that I've actually studied it and I understand it, I think that we're not going down such a bad path. We've been ranked at the bottom of education for a long time, since the 70s. It's time to do something different. And now that I've studied this some, I absolutely still have some concerns about where we're going. But I think that for the first time in quite a while, Mr. President, we actually have a path that we can follow. And if we don't destroy it ourselves, I think ultimately we will move back up in the chain. You know, Mr. President, one of the things that bothers me is my grandfather, who went to school years ago, and my father and I and my son, which is 4 generations of sheriffs. Each one of us have gone to school longer than the last. But I am still convinced that my grandfather, when he died at age 92,
if you're going to do that, you don't need to come back.
had more knowledge.
It's not like anybody noticed it.
It's kicked out of the Senate for filming. So I'm going to go back to the Renewable Energy press conference. I actually knew that was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. In fact, I'm going to go to the... I'm going to stay here for a minute. And I'm going to go to the Senate press gallery, the Senate press room, where I can film.
All of that replacement energy will come from solar and from wind. The sun might rise in the east, but clean energy is rising in the west. And it's happening all across the country. In Oklahoma, they are bringing down their coal plants, they are bypassing natural gas, they are going to wind and solar. In Colorado, they are closing their coal plants, they are starting to move beyond gas, and they are investing in wind and solar. In Iowa, the largest economic investment ever made in the state of Iowa's history was for wind. $2 billion was invested in wind, and that's enabling them to not build new nuclear power plants, to retire their existing coal-fired power plants, and invest in clean energy instead. All of this is happening just within the last several years. In the last 6 years, the amount of solar and wind that we produce in the United States has tripled. It's tripled. In the last 7 years, we have invested in this country $400 billion in clean energy. And in 2014, more clean energy came online than all new fossil fuel sources combined. So what this means is that our opponents, the people who eventually will agree that we need a clean energy future, but who aren't there yet, the people who often control the oil and coal and gas industries, they are fighting back pretty hard here in this state and in other states, and they're trying to stop our progress. They can't compete in the marketplace of ideas. Increasingly, they can't compete in the marketplace economically because solar and wind are becoming cheaper than gas and cheaper than coal. So just like they have poisoned our air, just like they have poisoned our water, just like they have poisoned our atmosphere, now they are poisoning our politics. And they're putting hundreds of millions of dollars, $700 million was spent by fossil fuel companies in the last election. They have more money, but we have ideas, and we have more people, and we will prevail. So the final thing I wanted to say, the last thing I want to say is for all the Global Warming Express folks here up in the front who have laid down as I've started talking, which is a bit of a concern. Nobody's snoring yet, which I really appreciate. So what I wanted to say, and to everybody here, is that I know that when we think about climate change, we are scared of what might happen over the next couple years, over the next couple decades. I have young children myself. My daughter is about your age, and I think a lot about what it might look like for her in 20 or 30 years. But I think we also need to remember that fighting climate change isn't just an obligation, it's an enormous opportunity. It's not something that we've got to do, it's something that we get to do. Because clean energy means more jobs. Clean energy means clean air, clean water, stable environment, a healthier economy, a more just economic system, as well as fighting climate change. And it's irreversible. So you all, 5th grade, 6th grade, 4th grade, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 6th, elementary school kids, the thing that I would love for you to think about is that you all are going to be part of something that the world will never forget. It's historic. Because what you are doing, what you will be a part of, can never be reversed. By the time you all are my age, 100% of our energy is going to come from clean energy sources. Every light bulb, every TV, every iPad, every computer, they have them then. Every time someone plugs in, it's all going to come from clean energy. And think about that, because we will never go back. People aren't going to say, maybe we should do more fracking instead of clean energy because we missed that water pollution. People aren't going to say, let's blow up more mountains for coal instead of all this clean energy because who needs mountains anyway? We're going to build a society where 100% of our power comes from energy that's safe and secure and sustainable, and you're going to make it happen. So thank you.
Wow, so inspiring. We are so fortunate to have the National Director of the Sierra Club here with us today. That was really fortuitous. Thank you so much, Mike Broom, for being here. Excellent. And what an inspiring message of hope for all of us. All of us, especially all of you shiny faces who I love seeing every week. Okay, and our next presenter is one of the people helping make this happen in the schools. She's one of my personal heroes, one of the people really transforming Santa Fe Public Schools with regard to their energy and water use and composting, which she brought to Wood Gormley. All these kids sitting up here, she helped us get composting at Wood Gormley, which we were really excited about. So our next presenter is, and I don't see her, there she is, Lisa Randall. Please welcome her. She really is a hero.
thanks for being here today. Thanks for organizing this, Gut Soul, and everybody else who helped out. Can you hear me okay in the back? Yep. I'm going to read because I tend to be long-winded and I stray. My name is Lisa Randall. I manage the energy and water conservation programs for Santa Fe Public Schools, as well as our renewable energy programs, our recycling, waste reduction, and composting. I want to share some of our accomplishments because I want people upstairs, people in this building to know this work can be done, that school districts can and should do this work. For the last 4.5 years, SFPS has been working diligently
kids need a future. Think about it.
Alright, I'm going to stand out here so I can get a little closer, just a smidge closer. We're working on the mic issue, but thank you, Marino. I hope you all can hear him. I know it's really hard in this space. So our next presenters are fully engaged in this process of letting their voices be heard. Okay, I have to let my voice be heard. I'm getting the cue. And they're really working to change the system for the better. They are working to change the system of the PARCC tests, and they've been very vocal in their community recently, and they want to talk about their desire to learn more about things like renewable energy and sustainability in the schools, but too much time is being spent focused on the testing. So please welcome Malachi Ramirez and Donnie Gutierrez. Oh, good idea. Did you find one?
Okay, hello. My name is Malachi Ramirez. I'm a representative for Santa Fe High School and other schools
Loud as you
district
can.
wide. I'm kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So this is my speech about PARCC and ACE
You know what?
education
Can you
and
pause? We're going to get this taken care of so people can actually hear me.
On your foot?
We're good.
All right, we're on track. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Malachi Ramirez. I am a representative for Santa Fe High School and other schools district-wide. I would like the opportunity to thank every single person who came out this entire week to help protest standardized tests in our education system. I would also like to thank Ethan Green and Isha Kyokyo for the opportunity to speak in front of you all today. Everybody in this room is a leader. Without you, these protests wouldn't make as much of an impact. I feel as if most people are still confused about the movement and are still not fully informed about the real issues here. This is why I'm here today. I'm here today to clarify what our main goals are and to stop false information given out by other peers and adults throughout social media and television media. The PARCC test is one of our first opportunities to demonstrate competency towards graduation. To opt you out of the PARCC test, a new door will be open to alternative demonstrations of competency. We are not only here to protest the standardized test, we are also here to discuss the education system in our state. New Mexico is ranked 49th in the country for education. We need to change this number. We want to expand our sustainability program known as ACE throughout the district in a proper manner. ACE is directed towards the exercise of education by kinetic learning and real-world activities. ACE will help us change New Mexico's future in so many different ways, from taking on the era of renewable energy to helping with homeless into homes and even taking a step into green building. Everything that has to do with real situations in life, like this one, ACE provides. ACE will teach us how to take on these real-world problems so we can make a difference in our community and get out of the pothole that this education system dug us into. We need to be taught how to make a difference in our communities here in New Mexico and all over the world. My education, as well as everyone else's served in New Mexico, is based off a test that has no real-world purpose and is only used to categorize the children of New Mexico. School makes a huge impact on a child's life if they are taught correctly about how to take on the real-world problems that we face today and in the near future. School does not take a positive role if we are using it just to categorize everybody who is in it by taking a standardized test. What Pearson doesn't realize is that we all have a future. They are giving us this test to fail. Pearson is just in it for the money, plain and simple. They are a multi-billion-dollar corporation who is giving us a test to fail and make money off our failure. I personally will not give up for what I believe in. I will fight these standardized tests. I will fight the Board of Education. I will protest until changes are made. I want to make a difference in our community. If you understand where we are coming from here, please join us and help us take a step closer to our goals. Standardized tests will no longer control who we really are. We want change, and change starts now.
I'm here to talk about two different types of power. The way you can distinguish these are one's energy that's physical and the other is societal. We'll start by speaking about societal power. We need to shift the power structure. The people with the power seem to only care about power and profit over people. Whether it's an educational company that tests us for their profit or an oil company that doesn't care about power. They just want to make money exploiting other people. People who choose profit over people, power over property, need to realize we are changing our education so we can change that system of greed. I want the type of education that won't think that's the way I learn. I want to learn the way that's ideal for me. We have everyone teaching us as academics that are mandatory for our schools. No kid wants to learn something they'll barely even use it on. They want to learn the way they are comfortable with. We get fed all these false pretenses about school and how we need it for this and we need this for that. When will I ever use Algebra 2 to work on cars? When will I ever need English to change oil? Don't get me wrong, these subjects are important, but give me one time to use biology to change a tire. I believe that ACE is that program for me. This is where I'll get into physical energy. For example, the sun. I myself as a student know how it feels to sit in a desk for 8 hours and be bored out of my mind. Not wanting to do any schoolwork and just leave saying school's so boring. No kid will apply themselves to their work. That's why our dropout rate is so high. No one teaches us what we want to learn. Our state is 49th in the country for education, correct? Do you ever ask yourself why? Here's a hint. Fit your feet inside my shoes, walk around school for a day, I guarantee you will want to walk out as soon as the instructions for what classroom you're getting. Let me tell you, I've seen things out in the world most people won't find pretty. This ACE program is my drive. It keeps me going, it makes me want it more and more. I will not sit by and let my education, I know the education of my little cousin or son in the future be tainted by sitting in a desk and doing nothing all day for 8 hours. I've lived a hard life. I never thought of myself competent enough for school. If it wasn't for the teachers there that addressed ACE to me, those of you who don't know what ACE is all about sustainability. Sustainability is creating a healthy future for everybody. The main focus for ACE is to turn our South Campus into a green South Campus. We want to have a green garage, a green house, and green gardens. This ACE program is committed to reduce the dropout rate, grow a stronger, greener campus, and a vital green local economy and more. We can set up solar panels and hire students, including myself, to set them up. I would love to conserve energy and just go green 100%. I would have already dropped out. Honestly, I was so close to dropping out, that was until I wanted to be a part of ACE. My brother dropped out as a freshman. He's now currently enrolled in the engineering program at the college. He dropped out of school because school wasn't easy for him. He wasn't the smartest kid, but he was smart in what he really wanted to learn, and that was cars. I'm saying if we had an ACE program at Santa Fe High, when he was enrolled, we could have made a solar car, a car that runs off sun rays. That's also really friendly to the environment. I'm here today because the students and myself are the ticket to start change for our school. We should be able to demonstrate the way we should live, sustainably. I want to tell you about another kind of prophet. We are the prophets, and we're here to tell you we want to clear up the mess you gave us so we need the tools to make change.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all. All right. When I think about those in Santa Fe who have made the biggest difference when it comes to renewable energy, does anybody know who the first person who comes to mind is? She is the executive director of New Energy Economy. She has been instrumental in shaping the power replacement plan for the coal-fired power plants up at Four Corners area. And she's a great educator. She's gotten me involved in this movement and so many other people. She's very inspiring and really knows her stuff. I really want you to give a good round of applause and warm welcome, Mary Ellen Massey.
Good job. Thank you. So, everyone might still be in the Senate gallery. They were talking about education on the Senate floor. I'm gonna check that out. I'm going to try to go into the media room in the Senate gallery. I'm going to see if they're still discussing education in the Senate. I'm going to see if I can go into the media, the press room, because they don't allow filming in the gallery.
Clearly says that we have a right to a free education. And this is a right that is being denied to our students statewide in this state. So it really has nothing to do with your memorial. And I know you're getting a lot of other questions about your memorial, but I thought it was really interesting that you had as your first whereas a right to an education. And the fact that you don't have to pay for a right. They're inalienable rights. And you're right, we do have a right to an education in this state. But I think you left out a word, and that's that you have a right to a free education. And so I thank you for giving me the wonderful opportunity on the Senate floor to borrow your memorial for a minute to make my point. Thank you, Senator.
Mr. President and Senator, I think I'm going to charge you for that free blood for your bill that you're carrying.
There is further debate. Senator McSorley, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will all the Republicans that think cactus don't belong in forests please stand up? Because the point is, if you're not standing, you just flunked the question on the part, according to a constituent of mine. How bizarre is it that we are giving a test that says cactus don't belong in forests? That is absolutely bizarre. And for anybody in this body to be arguing for a test that you don't know what's in it, and the students don't know what's in it, and the teachers don't know what's in it, and the teachers never find out what's in it, because all they get back are grades. The answer to question number 57 was C, but nobody knows what question 57 is. That is not a teaching device. That's a punitive device. And the other thing about this testing is we are on the verge of losing local control. We are on the verge. These tests are not done by our local school boards. They don't know what's in them. They haven't approved them. This is done by the state. And worse than that, when students don't do well, the local school boards aren't going to control the remedial part of how to fix whatever somebody presumes is wrong with that child. So I'm going to stand up for local control. I'm going to stand up for this. I appreciate the gentleman from Grant and Fugado and whatever other counties you represent for bringing this. When I had a parent come and tell me that the wrong answer was cactus in a national forest and in your forest, I knew we had lost control. I knew it. That's just an answer written in England by the PARCC people who have no clue what the students of New Mexico know. And maybe what we ought to be writing is a New Mexico student test to educate the people that are writing these PARCC tests. Because those folks don't know what we know. Thank you.
Senator Souls, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and we'll sponsor you for a couple of questions.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Senator, I'll happily yield.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we're talking about all of the PARCC tests and things, and they talk about passing scores on the PARCC in order to get a diploma of excellence, has the PED set the passing score for the PARCC test?
Mr. President and Senator Souls, I'll have you expand on that, and I know the answer to that, and it's kind of a double-sided issue with that because the scores have been set, but they have not been set according to the PARCC.
Thank you, Mr. President, and that's kind of exactly the point. The PARCC test has not been validated nationwide. It has not had any reliability studies done nationwide. We don't know, it says that it's college and career readiness, but it has not been validated with any of the other measures of college and career ready. They're going to use this first administration nationwide to determine the 5 levels of proficiency on the PARCC. And so we are requiring our students to pass a test for graduation of which the pass score has not yet been set. That's sort of like starting a running race and the officials telling you, we'll tell you when you're done. We'll tell you when you've gone fast enough. We'll tell you when you've jumped high enough, but we don't know yet. We'll tell you after you finish. That's ridiculous. And yet we are participating in that. When I actually called up to the PED yesterday to try and get some clarification, they indicated that they will use the same percentile cut scores that were used for the SBA. Using the cut scores for the SBA as the same ones for the PARCC is like saying we're going to take whoever the bottom 20% were on the SBA, and those will also be the failing scores on the PARCC test. Good luck, do well. And Mr. President and Senator, this last summer when we were in Hobbs for an LASC meeting, and it was at my request that the LASC was set up with computers to take the practice math test for the PARCC. I recommended that they take maybe the 8th grade level test, thinking that that might be a good measure of showing what the level of difficulty of this PARCC test was, realizing that our students were required to pass 7th grade
those earlier years. We're going in a different direction right now, and we need to change course, and that's exactly what these individuals are trying to do, is trying to bring out the realities of what they see. And I would encourage and invite any of us to show up tomorrow, to share your point of view, so you can have a good dialogue with those individuals who are there. You may come in, you may learn something new. They may learn something new. That's the whole purpose of having this conference, is to bring in the discussions of what could take place. And I think it's a wonderful discussion that we've had. It's a memorial. And this